Good Friday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I am your meteorologist, Jess Peterson. Hopefully, everyone has had a fantastic Friday. And let's go on and talk about the weather for your Friday evening going into your future. First off, what we always do, if you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button yet, make sure that you go and do so. We have 585 subscribers trying to get to that main goal of 615 away from that main goal of 600 subscribers. So let's go on and get there. Also, make sure that you go and hit the like button. We've had 7 people tune in so far, and we only have 5 likes. So if you're a part of that too that have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. And share it with all the people that you know. It could be on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, anything like that. You can either share it in person as well, or just text it to a family member, friend, anything like that. So go on and get that done if you can. That would be greatly appreciated. What will we be talking about today? Obviously, we will talk about our current temperatures, current conditions in general, and what we will be talking about as well is the weather for tonight. Weather for tonight, we will be talking about that. And then also, we will also talk about our mostly dry condition with isolated showers just as we continue into tomorrow. And then pretty much just our low rain chances in general just as we move through, like this weekend going into next week. And then the tropics. Tropics will also be another area that we discuss. But currently, what's going on right now? We also do have some rainfall right now going on near Allendale, Fairfax, Hampton, also down here just to the west of us still. And this right now is right along that South Carolina-Georgia border, it seems, but right inside the low country near, the Allendale, Fairfax, Hampton, and Estill area. What about the entire U.S.? We have rainfall that goes on in Florida, in Mississippi, in Louisiana, and Arkansas, as well as Missouri, Kentucky, getting in on some of that rainfall, as well as Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, the Dakotas, and even Nebraska. And then we also do have some rainfall over here in California, Oregon, Nevada, Utah, the Four Corners region, pretty much, while severe weather is going on inside of Kansas. What about our cloud cover? We do, in fact, have some cloud cover going on throughout the state right now, throughout that western part of the state. It seems the far upstate getting in on some of that rain, some of that cloud cover, while the low country obviously is getting some of that rainfall, and then also getting in on some heavy cloud cover. That honestly does include the rainfall, but also doesn't really include the rainfall. You have some cloud cover besides that. What about for our future? As we go in and push this forward, you can see that cloud cover for the most part. We'll try to stay in the low country, stay along that coastal area, maybe even move into the Grand Strand a little bit as well, and then maybe even into like the upstate Midlands. You can see some cloud cover up there. As you continue it even more, you can see the areas of fog starting to pop up in the low country. You're starting to see it inside of the PD and Grand Strand as well, as we have cloud cover moving through that area, fog moving through that area, and then even in the upstate, more cloud cover will move in, and honestly, it might get a little bit of widespread throughout the state of South Carolina as we move into tomorrow afternoon. Current temperatures right now, 77 in Columbia as well as 74 in Summerville, 77 in Aiken as well as 75 in Lawrence, 73 in Greenville, 75 in Spartanburg, 75 in York, and even 75 in Rock Hill, 76 in Lancaster as well as 75 in Conway, or 73 in Conway, 75 in Myrtle Beach, as well as 75 in Murrells Inlet, 74 in Georgetown, and 75 in Charleston, 76 in Beaufort, and even 77 in Hilton Head Island and Aiken. Low temperatures for tonight around 66 in Greenville, 64 in Spartanburg, as well as 65 in Rock Hill, 66 in Anderson, even 65 in Greenwood, 65 in Newberry, and 67 in Columbia, 66 in Orangeburg and Sumter, and even 65 in Barnwell, 64 in Walterboro, 66 also inside of Moncks Corner, 69 in Charleston, and 66 in Georgetown, 68 in Myrtle Beach, and 66 inside of Florence, 71 in Hilton Head Island. Rainfall for tonight, overall things look a lot more on like the isolated side. We're not really going to see too much rainfall tonight or even through tomorrow as well. 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch goes in for parts of the Midlands, goes in for parts of the upstate as well. And that seems to go along that South Carolina, North Carolina, such Georgia, tri-state area. And again, like I said, there will be some inside the Midlands, inside that central portion of South Carolina. And we'll look at the models later, see what the models have to say. But first, what about the crazy score? The crazy score for tonight, we actually are at a 17. We are at a 17, meaning that we're inside the mild category. Obviously, will be a bit cloudy due to some fog that's going to move its way in, especially towards like the low country and the Grand Strand area. But also, we also just do have some mild and humid conditions that will continue, especially near the coastal regions. But overall, the atmosphere is stable. SPC outlook for tonight. They have not released the one for tonight yet. Yes, they did. Actually, they did just do it. Here's what it looks like right now. It actually gives us a little bit more of a risk, but a thunderstorm risk is still there for the upstate, still there just to the west of Aiken, still there for the western low country. And that is for if any shower gets going throughout these regions, definitely we could have a shot for a thunderstorm to get going. Now, is there one going on throughout the state right now? Right now, I'm looking at the lightning probability map, and for right now, I'm not seeing anything throughout the state right now. What about for tomorrow? Tomorrow, a thunderstorm risk is still here. Same thing for the upstate, goes into the Midlands, goes into the western PD area. And this is again for Saturday, September the 20th. Tomorrow, thunderstorms are possible there. If a shower gets going, it could possibly occur there. And then for Sunday, low country has a little threat, especially on the coastal area. The Grand Strand has their own thunderstorm threat on Sunday. And then even parts of the far upstate has their own thunderstorm threat on Sunday. No excessive rainfall is expected, so let's go in and look at the models. We're going to start off here at 9 o'clock p.m. And you can see we have shower activity that's going on. I think that it might be overdoing it just a little bit, especially because we don't have any showers going on inside the Midlands, going on inside of the PD and the upstate right now. But if we just continue to push this forward, you can see that rainfall will continue to make its way through, according to this one model run right here, by 12 to 1 to 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. It still shows this little stray shower just moving through the state, not really doing much, but just causing some rainfall is all it's doing. And then as you get into around 1 p.m., seem to be dry. Then once we get to around 2, 3, 4, 5 p.m. tomorrow, it looks like that we will have some more rainfall pop in. And again, that thunderstorm activity for the Midlands, for the upstate, for the western PD. That will move all the way into around 7, 8, 9, and even 10 p.m. That's finally the shower activity starts to go down. Thunderstorm activity starts to go down. And then when 12 o'clock in the morning hits on Sunday, it looks like that things will become mostly dry at that time frame. And then just continuing all the way through for the rest of the day on Sunday, it looks mostly dry. So that's for the short term. What about the long-term future? Long-term future here, you can see starting off going into the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th. Things look relatively dry. That does not mean that rainfall will go away, but it does mean that rainfall will just be less active than usual. But we do have this kind of like this little system right here. This might be a cold front right here moving through the 25th, 26th, and the 27th. Brings in some good rainfall. Definitely will help out with the dry areas right now going on inside of the state. And that moves into the 28th, the 29th, the 30th even. But then things start to, again, kind of calm down a little bit. October the 1st comes in. Same thing with the 2nd. And then it just seems like that for the most part, this is 300 hours out, so I'm not really too focused on that right now. Once we get to around October the 2nd, we really can't go any further in terms of in-depth, just because it's over 300 hours, but it looks like a good little system could potentially pop in at the October the 5th time frame. We'll see what happens there, though, but it's over 300 hours, so this could be gone tomorrow. But the main thing to take away here is that it seems like that a cold front may be on the way later next week. If we go in and look at the dew points, you can see this is a clear sign of a cold front right here. See the dew points dropping immediately as you go into around like the 27th. And seems like that we will have a cold front move through, but look at that tropical moisture kind of with it and kind of battling with it. And the tropical moisture, tries to push back, but the cold front eventually prevails, moves through, brings us those cooler conditions. But once the cold front weakens, it gets down in strength. The warm air and the tropical air decides to try to move back in, but we get some more cool air, some more cool and dry air behind it that kind of tries to sustain it at the same time. So at this point, you have our already tropical air, and it seems like that actually could be potentially from a warm front, because you can see right in front of the system, you see how it starts to get a lot more humid before the actual cold front pops in. That's a sign right there that could potentially be a warm front that moves through. I do want to go and look at the temperature anomalies though, just how you can see that it stays relatively warm though. I will say that even when the cold front passes us, because you can just see just how hot it's going to be as we move through later next week. But just as this cold front passes us, you're not really seeing too much of a dip in temperatures. You're not. It really just seems like it's going to try and get rid of that muggy condition, but it's not really going to get rid of those hot temperatures like that. Now, as you get into like September the 30th, October the 1st, things seem to try to take a little bit of a turn, but it won't last long. So warm air is definitely here to stay for a good little bit. Even if you go and look at the exact temperature, I mean, we're going to have temperatures back in the 90s, high 90s for potentially a day or so. Just as we continue this through all the way into next week and then into potentially even the week after that. Potentially. So that's it for the models for the future. What about the tropics? Tropics, we obviously have an area that we're watching for. We have two. Gabrielle, I'm not really watching too much anymore. I mean, Gabrielle is still forecast to become a hurricane by Sunday and pass eastern Bermuda. Bermuda should continue to monitor it, and it's too soon to specify the magnitude of the potential wind and the rainfall impacts. Swells generated by Gabrielle are expected to reach Bermuda tonight and build through the weekend. These swells are likely to cause life-threatening rip currents and surf conditions. So nothing for Gabrielle for South Carolina. I've been saying that for a good little bit now. But what about this area right here? A tropical wave located near the Cabo Verde Islands is producing disorganized shower and thunderstorm activity. Some slow development of the system is possible through the middle to the latter parts of next week, while it moves west-northwest across the eastern and the central tropical Atlantic. So this has a 0% chance of forming over the next 48 hours, but a 20% chance over the next 7 days. And so this will be something that I am kind of keeping my eye on right now. If you remember the ensembles, the GEFS, which let's go and get them pulled up right now, since we are already talking about it right now. But let's go on. If I go on and check out we're going to look at the Euro first, because this one was the one that was a bit less confident, to say the least. But this one right here, we're going to start this off, obviously, about a couple hours out from now, at this point. Push this forward. You can see the low pressure is getting in on it. And, you know, it's honestly a lot more confident than it was yesterday. Yesterday it had it dying out pretty early, but obviously you see like the main ones that you can see up there on the northern side of the screen, or at the top of the screen. That's obviously Gabrielle. But these ones right here behind it, that's the area that we're watching for right now. Most of them have it curving. But you see that there's not as much as you would think potentially, especially yesterday. There was not much yesterday either. Even less, I believe so. Now, what about did not mean to do that. Hopefully that didn't do anything. This is the GFS right here. This one has like a good amount more of models here, but these one actually seem to die out a lot quicker than what the Euro actually painted. So it seems like that we might have something with the system, and we might not. That's the whole story right here. That's why we have to continue watching, continue to see what happens, because the system right here, it can either curve, it can go more to the west, it can go more to the north. We're just gonna have to continue to wait and see what happens with this. But right now, ensembles are still all over the place with it. That's all that I have for the tropics, though. Nothing else for me to say there. So let's go on and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off, with, I cannot read this top comment. Let me see if I can go in and do live chat. That might work. Yes, you can. Miss Tolliver says, good evening. Not too bad at my house. It was warmer than what I like, but hopefully cooler times around the corner. Maybe, unfortunately, if you were just paying attention to the models that I was just talking about with the temperatures, unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit more time before we get to those cooler temperatures. There may be a little bit of a cool down towards like the end of September, early October for like the first, maybe the last day going into the first day of October potentially, but I'm not really seeing a significant cool down for now. My Aunt Lula says, good evening, everyone. Today was hot and humid. It was hot and humid today. Mr. Chris says, good evening, everyone from Monk's Corner. Feeling even better today. I'm beating this illness. Please remember to go and hit the like button and the subscribe button for the channel. Helps it grow and get the information out. First off, real quick, before we even go on and talk about, people going to hit the like button, because for sure they should. First, I just want to give you a round of applause for beating COVID. I want to give you that round of applause real quick. Glad that you are feeling better, though. But he's absolutely correct, though. We've had 17 people tune in, and we only have 8 likes, so I'm not quite sure what the other 9 people are doing. But if you are a part of the 9 that have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. It's free. You can change your mind at any time if you ever want to, and it helps me out. My Aunt Shirley then comes in and says, happy Friday, nice weather here in Raleigh. Weekend blessings to all. Thank you so much for that. Happy Friday to you. Thank you for that weather update. My Nana says, hello, Jay. It was a little warm today, but it was fairly good day after all. Overall, first off, hello to you. Second off, thank you for that weather update. Third off, I'm glad that it was a good day. Mr. Chris says, also felt the change in temperature. Today was slightly warmer. Today was a bit warmer. I know highs today, at least, I believe they were around, at least from where I am, around 88, 89-ish. So a bit warmer. My cousin Cheryl then comes in and says, happy Friday, everyone. Please enjoy your weekend on purpose. Hey, weatherman, how are you doing? I'm doing great. The weather is great in Philly, so you keep doing what you do. Love you much, Cheryl. Thank you so much for that comment. And hopefully you will enjoy your weekend as well. Cheryl then comes in and says, greetings, everyone. Nice day here. A little hot. I went to the park for 2 hours, read my book. Fantastic. Glad that you got some outside time in, and you got to read a book as well while you were out there. Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. And then Mr. Chris says, when that cold front hits that tropical air, won't that cause severe weather? Not in this scenario, just because you need to have a lot of things for a severe weather outbreak or a severe weather, kind of like the probabilities for a severe weather thing to happen. You need to have other things for severe weather to happen, pretty much is what I'm trying to say. You need dew points, you need dew points to be high, which it's there. You need the upper level winds to be in your favor. You need the CAPE, convective available potential energy, to be in your favor as well. So you need a lot of things to get severe weather to work. And you also need the moisture, the convection as well. I mean, if I go on and go to my screen real quick, and if I go over to the CAPE right now, if I go all the way to the 25th, the CAPE is there. The CAPE for sure is, it seems to be there. Is the upper level wind with us? That's another good question. If I go on over into 850, it's kind of there. We'll see what happens when the 25th gets here, but, potentially, they might try something. I know thunderstorms definitely will be a possibility, but if I can even get an even better looking over here, though, but I'll look at that in a second. Finish off, though. He says thank you. No problem for that, for the round of applause, though. But I'll go on and I'll talk about more about that at the end, though, once we get more into, once we get done with the 3 locations outside of South Carolina. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and then also Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about those 3 locations is because we have people from those locations that tune in almost nightly, and so we go on and talk about them in their areas as well. Starting off, though, with Raleigh, you have low temperatures tonight at 64, high temperatures tomorrow at 87, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 64 as well. There is areas of fog that will occur tonight and tomorrow morning, but no precipitation is expected at this time. Now, what about severe weather and excessive rainfall? In terms of severe weather, there is indeed, you guessed it, absolutely no risk for any sort of excessive rainfall or severe weather. So you're good for all of those categories for all days, all 5 to 8 days. Philadelphia being the next one with low temperatures tonight at 61, high temperatures tomorrow at 77, and low temperatures tomorrow night at 59. There is indeed no precipitation that is expected as you move through the next tonight and tomorrow, so the next like 24 hours or so. No severe weather is expected. No excessive rainfall is expected. And then finally, we have Duncan, Oklahoma. Low temperature tonight at 69, high temperature tomorrow at 92, and then low temperature tomorrow night at 67. No precipitation is expected tonight, but there is a chance of thunderstorms tomorrow and tomorrow night as well. No severe weather is expected, but excessive rainfall is definitely a bit of a concern on Sunday and Tuesday. Sunday and Tuesday, there is indeed a chance for some isolated flash flooding. Again, that's on Sunday and Tuesday. It was originally on Monday, but I guess they've refined it a little bit and made it out to Tuesday. Things can still change. It's 5 days out. What about the entire U.S.? Tropical moisture continues to flow across portions of the Great Basin, desert, Southwest, and California. Isolated instances of flash flooding remains possible. Meanwhile, a storm and associated frontal boundary will focus shower and thunderstorm for the center of the nation. For New England, dry and breezy conditions can enhance favorable fire weather conditions. We were just talking about fire weather conditions. I believe it was Mr. Chris who asked the question about the red flag warning. Will they get a red flag warning over there? Maybe, potentially. I know they already have it out, or already have a little statement out in Massachusetts, I believe. So yes, again on tomorrow in Massachusetts again. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Frost advisories and freeze warnings are out in northern New York as well as parts of Vermont, Maine, and then also inside of New Hampshire. So all of those areas will have the chance for some frost or some freezing condition. Then also air quality alerts are out for Texas, not for Texas, but for the Dallas-Fort Worth area, back into Nashville, back into Cincinnati, Columbus, and then a good amount of Indiana, from Gary, Indiana, all the way down to Indianapolis and southern Indiana. And then dense fog takes over both, not only the North Carolina area, but also in South Carolina, as we will be expecting some frost, not some frost, but some fog. Way too early for frost, but fog as we get into tonight and tomorrow. So a good amount of stuff going on. A good amount of stuff going on. I did want to go in and talk about this real quick, though, before we get out of here, because I did say I wanted to look at it real quick. And that's for the 25th, when that cold front passes by, which that would be on, I believe, next week, Thursday. So, I mean, I'm already looking at it. Obviously, you have the cold front. You have the convection that's there. Now, if you go on and look, or if I go on and look at Cape, and you go all the way into, which actually I can show you over here probably, and you go all the way through to that day on the 25th, it seems to kind of show some activity there, just as you move this all the way through into the 25th. Now, that 25th area, I mean, you can see some Cape going on. You can see over there inside of Mississippi, inside of Alabama. But once you get into South Carolina, it's not that bad. It's not that bad as you get more into Thursday. Yes, you do have some Cape here, and when you go in and look at the thing, at the actual reading, it says the possible hazard type is none. So, it's something that they might refine, but they might issue some severe weather potentially over here inside the deep south, sometime from Louisiana all the way up into Georgia. We'll see if South Carolina is included in that for next week as well. But anytime that I click something, I don't see anything in terms of severe. Well, there goes some severe right there near Rock Hill. So there might be a little severe weather threat. I do want to go in and thank Mr. Chris for getting me on that because I absolutely didn't even think about severe weather at that time. I've been so focused on the tropics that I didn't even think about looking for any sort of severe weather. So let me go ahead and give you a round of applause for that. But that's all that I have for tonight. Let me go in and check out the top fans for tonight. Mr. Chris is at number 1, Trail is at number 2, and then Miss Tolliver is at number 3. Congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans again. I believe this is the same order from either yesterday or a couple of days ago. But y'all 3 are the top fans again. That's all that I have for tonight, though. Make sure that if you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button yet, go on and do so. We've had 20 people tune in, only 8 likes. 12 people have not hit the like button yet, so go on and do so if you have not already. Also hit the subscribe button. Again, 585 trying to get to 600. 585 trying to get to 600. So we'll see what happens as we move throughout this weekend, how that subscriber number goes up. Hopefully it does. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Friday evening, and make sure that you hit those 2 buttons.